Hi, this is the Circuit Thought for the Day for Thursday the 16th of July, and it's based on John chapter 8. At dawn, Jesus appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what have you to say?" They were using this question as a trap in order to have basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away, one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." My high-flying sister-in-law is an enthusiastic advocate of the Myers-Briggs method of profiling personality. Now, this assesses and categorises personality from 4 different perspectives. Whether you tend to be introvert or extrovert. I'm an introvert. How you process information. Apparently, I do this intuitively. How you make decisions. I'm told that I do this in a feeling kind of way. And the way in which you deal with the outside world. I am someone, apparently, who tends to make decisive judgments. In Myers-Briggs terminology, I'm therefore known as type INFJ, standing for introvert, intuitive, feeling and judging. INFJ. Apparently, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa are all INFJ personalities. So I'm delighted to be ranked along such inspirational people. And I'm also quite content to be categorised as introverted, intuitive and in touch with my feelings. But I wasn't too happy with the last part of that profile. The word judging is a bit too close to the word judgmental for my liking. And anyway, didn't Jesus tell us not to judge? Well, there is a significant difference between the verb to judge, consider, assess, determine, and the adjective judgmental, critical, condemning, disapproving. And this, of course, is well illustrated in today's passage. The woman's accusers salaciously smack their lips, scorning and sentencing her, and her alone, to stoning for adultery, even though it takes 2 to tango in such matters. Jesus, by comparison, calmly considers and carefully judges. Compassion is balanced with integrity, and there is no condemnation. According to Myers-Briggs, judging personalities are decisive, organised, preferring to plan and make firm decisions, keeping life under as much control as possible. However, they are warned to be careful because they find it easy to focus so much on their goals that they miss new information. Making considered judgments easily tips over into being judgmental when the ultimate goal becomes more important than the people in front of us. The ultimate goal of those Pharisees who heartlessly hauled a harlot into the temple that day was to discredit Jesus. And if that meant sacrificing an adulteress along the way, then so be it. She deserved it after all. But who are you to judge? Asked Jesus. Confession time. I am currently being judgmental with a member of my own family in a family fallout that's nothing to do with me. I'm more than cross with my cousin's behaviour towards her parents, and had I been able to attend her father's funeral last week, I might have said something that I later regretted. And I don't have many details of this decade-long dispute. I only know about my uncle and aunt's grief. But I am missing information, and I would do well to follow the compassionate, considered example of Jesus before presuming to point the finger. The Navajo word for human being means the five-fingered one, and in their culture, pointing an accusing finger is considered a very serious overreaction. In Navajo law, a judge would admonish you for pointing, reminding you that when you point the finger, you have three fingers pointing right back at yourself. In the same way you judge others, you will be judged. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, warned Jesus. Jesus always challenged injustice and unloving behaviour. However, the yardstick that he used was one of compassion and consideration without a hint of condemnation. As Sharon reminded us earlier this month, we make all sorts of judgments every day of our lives. I like that music or that artist. I don't like that car or the way that person speaks of others. Perhaps in seeking to walk in the way of life of Jesus, we can be more aware of what judgments we make and to look and act as Jesus would, offering a kind word, love, care, forgiveness, and challenging the wrongs we see. I'm not even going to try to put it better than that, but let's pray. Jesus, you exposed and dealt with sin and self-righteousness, yet you always allowed mercy to triumph. Forgive us for all the times we've camped on the moral high ground or blindly criticised others. Show us instead how to challenge the many injustices we see in this world using your yardstick of compassion and consideration. Amen.